Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over a potential wildcard draft for game week 27. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment. Are you thinking of playing your wildcard before blank game week 29? Subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, obviously the phrase that has been said more than anything else in the last couple of weeks, it is all completely team dependent. Honestly, like, I was completely just for not playing my free hit in game week 29, but now, like, I think I might wildcard, and it's just, that's the thing, like, it just changes non-stop. But either way, this wildcard has 5 doublers in 28. It has 8 playing players in game week 29, but obviously you'll have 2 free transfers, so you can bring in another 2 players there. So you'll have 10 playing players in game week 29, but it also allows you not to play your free hit in 29 as well. So you're keeping your free hit, but you're using your wild card, and then you can always just free hit in 34 and then bench boost in 37 or vice versa. So that's why I quite like this idea, because I think with my team, I could probably get like 3 doublers and maybe like 8 playing players in game week 29 without using my wildcard or a free hit. But I just feel like that's not enough of an upside, because then if I just wildcard in 30 or 31, like, yeah, that'd be great, but I can just build to game week 34 or 37, depending it. Like, if I just free hit in 34, then I don't have to worry about it. So I can just wildcard in like 28 or 27 and then just build for my double game week 37 team, like, through those 10 game weeks, and just not worry about game week 34 because I just free hit. So, like I say, it's very, very team dependent. I was heavily focused on not using any chips before game week 30, but now I kind of might. But my team is set up very well for 27 regardless, so I don't have to play it this week. But for 28, I very well could do it, and I'm not sure yet. But anyway, if I was going to wildcard in 27, this would be the team that I have. So I have 1.3 mil in the bank for this team. Again, you might have more, you might have less, but in goal we do have Flecken and Neto. So this is a really nice goalkeeper combination for double game week 28 and blank game week 29. So obviously with Flecken, you have that Burnley away fixture in 29, which again is probably the best fixture from a defensive standpoint with the fixtures we have in 29. And obviously Neto doesn't play in 29, but Neto has some really, really nice fixtures on either side of that blank. So obviously Burnley away this week, you'd play him. You'd have him for the double, which is obviously a really, really nice double. 2 home games against 2 promoted sides, being Sheffield United at home and Luton at home. Blanks in 29, but you just play Flecken. And then Everton and Palace as well. And then on the build up to 37, you just bring in a keeper or 2 keepers if you're going to like bench boost in 37 that obviously have a double or something like that. So like I say, you have 10 weeks to kind of make your team into a really good double game week 37 team and then just bench boost there. So that seems like the smartest option. It's just good enough to attack the double coming up, good enough to attack the blank, and it just sets you up nicely for 3 hit 34 and then also bench boost 37. So like I say, I'm just talking myself into it so much. And even though like the last 3 weeks I've been completely against free hitting and wildcarding and stuff, I'm still not free hitting in 29, but I very well could wildcard before then. But anyway, that's the 2 goalkeepers. Obviously you could have Areola and stuff like that, but I just think these 2 make a lot more sense. They're a bit more pricey than your Areolas and your Dubravkas and stuff like that, but it is to get you those extra fixtures and the good fixtures as well. So those are the 2 goalkeepers. At the back, we have double Arsenal defence being Gabriel and Saliba. Obviously, they've got Sheffield United away this week, and then they've got Brentford at home next week, which is also a fixture I could see them keeping a clean sheet. So that's really, really nice. And then obviously on the build-up to, you know, game week 37, you can always just get rid of them because they've got a blank and then City away. They do then have Luton at home, so I would definitely keep one of them. But I would probably get rid of probably Saliba because he's more expensive, and then just bring in a player. Like I say, all your transfers up to game week 37 should just be focused on your team getting like to game week 37, so you get a really good bench boost and really good doublers. Obviously bringing in the players that have good fixtures first and stuff like that. But either way, yeah, you'd be attacking a defensive pairing of Gabriel and Saliba. You know, best defense in the league, I think, right now. And Sheffield United away is obviously a really, really nice fixture. So you've got those 2. They do obviously both blank in 29, but you know, you don't have to worry about that. You've got Senesai as well, Senesai, however you say his name, I still don't know, but they've obviously got Burnley away this week, so you'd play him, and then they've got a really, really nice double. So yeah, you do have that double Bournemouth defense, but there's just not really anybody else that I could really think to play instead. Like, there's not really any midfielders that I'd want from Burnley. Your midfielders are really just occupying your kind of game week 29 team, because all of the teams that are playing in game week 29, even though there's not many of them, a lot of them have midfielders that you'll want, so it's best to bring them in now so you don't have to waste a transfer down the line. So that's why we've gone double Bournemouth defence as well. You could play, you know, someone else like Castagna this week instead of Senesi if you didn't want to go double Bournemouth. That's completely up to you. You could even go Flecken at home to Chelsea if you really wanted to, but obviously Neto's the better shout there. I've also gone Doughty as well, so he's there for the double. Does obviously play in 29 now as well. The FA Cup fixtures last night confirmed this, which is another reason that's kind of pushed me into wildcard, because it just lets you have a double game week player, and then they do play in 29. And obviously Forest at home is a good fixture as well for them, so that's why, you know, it just makes wildcard that bit better. And then I've also gone Castagna as well. He's a little bit of a differential, to be fair. Does obviously play in 29. Not the greatest fixture in 29, but I think that his numbers are decent, you know. And I think he's capable of definitely like hauling and stuff. And he's not really a player you'd have for long. You'd just really have him for 29 and then just get rid of him. But he's just a cheap player. Like, he could be anyone, really. He could be a Pedro Porro if you really wanted to. If you had an extra bit of money, then, you know, I'd go Porro instead. But if you don't have the funds, then Castagna is always a nice option. And obviously, Porro has Crystal Palace at home this week as well. And then the Villa away fixture isn't great, but you wouldn't even have to play him that week. You could just play double Arsenal defence. You wouldn't even do that. You'd probably play like Gabriel and then Senesi and Doughty for the double. So yeah, I'd probably go Porro over him. But if you don't have the money, then obviously Castagna. But, you know, I just have enough for Porro as well. So that's why I probably would go over Porro. But obviously, he's not confirmed to be back yet either. But if he is, yeah, I think Porro is probably a little bit better because they do have Palace at home this week. And then Fulham away, I think is Fulham away a better fixture than Spurs at home? I don't know. It's one of those. That'd just be kind of like up to you. But yeah, Porro is there. Obviously, you could go Udogie as well, but there's been no update on him regardless either. So that would be the back line there. So yeah, not too bad at all. Like I say, it looks really weird on a wild card, but it does work for the fixtures coming up. In midfield, we have Saka, who's got Sheffield United away. Obviously, can't go without Starboy. We've got Barkley as well. So this is another one that you could potentially change if you didn't want like too many Luton players. So you could go, instead of Barkley, Douglas Luiz. Obviously, that does price you out of Porro. So if Udogie's back, I think you'd be able to fit him in your team. He's 4.9. So you'd be able to fit Udogie in, but again, we don't know the update on him. So if you want Douglas Luiz in, who obviously is a penalty taker, has Luton away this week, so obviously a really nice fixture there, you could always just bring in Castagna instead of Udogie and just have it that way. So it's one of those. Is it like better to have Castagna and Douglas Luiz, or Porro and Barkley, whereas Barkley does have a double as well. So I'd probably go Porro and Barkley, even though that Douglas Luiz has just been an absolute hero over the last couple of weeks for me. You know, that double is really, really nice. And then they've got a good fixture in 29 as well at home to Forest. So I'd personally go Porro and Barkley over Castagna and Douglas Luiz. But again, if Udogie's fit, you could probably have Udogie and Barkley, but it depends on that situation. Like I say, you might not even be able to have Porro and Udogie. You might just be stuck with Castagna regardless. But either way, that's the kind of option there for Barkley. And then we've also gone Son and Maddison as well, sounding like a Pokemon evolution. But yeah, they've both got Crystal Palace at home this week. Obviously, Villa away isn't the greatest fixture, but you know, you're just kind of setting yourself up for game week 29 with these two. But yeah, you got to triple up on Spurs really, because they've just got a really nice fixture in 29. And then we've also got Bowen as well. Like, I mean, there's a bit of a differential, really. He's gone up a lot. Like, he was 10% owned when I brought him in. He's now 17% owned, so he's nearly doubled his ownership. But they've got Everton away, then they've got Burnley at home. They do play in 29, and then you can just get rid if you really want to. But I'd probably keep him for Newcastle away. Like, I think Newcastle away is a really, really good fixture for Bowen just to get in behind and just score and stuff. So that's the kind of midfield there. Again, it looks really weird on a wild card, but as I say, it does work. And then up top, obviously it depends on Solanke's injury as well. He did go for an MRI scan. I'm recording this before any updates on him, so we'll have to see what happens there. But, you know, Solanke is a major kind of positive for this wild card, because if he's fine, he's got Burnley away, a double, and then obviously he blanks, but then you can just get rid of someone else if you really want to. But then obviously he has Everton and Crystal Palace as well. So I feel like the wild card definitely hangs on the balance of whether Solanke is fit or not. Obviously, Watkins picks himself. He's got Luton away, and then he plays in 29. He's got so many goal contributions this season, just a must-have on every single team. I would never get rid of him. He'll just be on my team now until the end of the season. Like, I mean, I brought him in for like 7.8 anyway, and he's now 8.9. So yeah, like, I'd have like a mil like lost in him if I did ever get, well, half a mil, I guess, because I'd make some money anyway, but it's just not worth it. And then obviously Haaland as well. Like, the fixtures aren't great, but, you know, Man United at home is a fantastic fixture for him. But then after that, Liverpool away, blanking, then Arsenal at home. yeah, I could see the argument for getting rid of him, but I personally wouldn't, you know, especially after scoring 5 against Luton. But yeah, this is the kind of wild card for 27. Again, I don't think 28 would look that much different. It's just if you wild card now, you have 2 free transfers for 29. So maybe on a game week 28 wild card, you'd lose one of the Arsenal defenders, maybe, and you'd just have a playing player in 29. Maybe like a you might like maybe on a game week 28 wild card, you'd get rid of Saliba and you'd bring in like Reguilon or somebody like that, or like maybe a Tony or something like that against. I don't know. It's one of those. Like Tony would be a really good option on a wild card, but it's just like, who'd you get rid of? You know, you'd have to get rid of probably Solanke in game week 29 for Tony, but then obviously you'd have to make sure you have enough funds for that. So that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of thought that goes into it, but you know, as of right now, I think for 27 this is a decent fixture. And like I say, you can just roll in 28, and then in 29 you just get rid of 2 players. You have 10 playing players. So like I say, basically the kind of spine of this team is that you have 5 doublers, being Neto, Doughty, Senesi, Barkley, Solanke. So they're your 5 doublers in 28, which I think are probably the best doublers you could really have. There's not really anybody else from Luton that I would rather bring into my team. So that's your 5 doublers. You have 8 players for game week 29, but you have 2 free transfers for 29, so you would have 10 playing players for 29 as long as you bring in 2 players. So you could have 11 if you took a hit, but I don't think you really necessarily need it. I think you've got all the best players really for game week 29. And then obviously in game week 30, you'd have your normal team, and then you just kind of start building towards game week 37, because in game week 34, even though there are doublers and stuff, you just free hit there, so you don't have to worry about it. It's not into your team plans or anything like that. So literally game week 30 to 37 is just bringing in players that are going to be doubling in 37, and I think we have a good idea of like what the fixtures are going to be. And then you bench boost in 37 if you still have that, and then you just finish 38 strong. So that is kind of the situation here. I really like the idea of it, and I know I've just been like constantly talking about how I'm not using any chips until game week 30, but it just makes more sense, really. I think as an attacking, like to attack these fixtures, you wildcard in, you know, 20. Like you don't have to wildcard in 27 if your team is good, but if you've got like Hee-Chan, you've got other players that are just injured, that are just not going to be playing, and you just want to get rid of it and just sort yourself out properly for 27, then this is obviously the way that I would go. But game week 28 wildcard I think is stronger, just because you have a little bit more time. You know, you don't have to really be bringing in like anyone that you don't really want, whereas kind of wildcarding now locks you into a transfer, or 2 transfers into 29, and you never know with like injuries and stuff, they could always happen. So yeah, I mean, this is, like I say, it's very team dependent. Obviously, I'm not completely convinced I'm going to be wildcarding in 28, but I could, because then it just kind of writes itself. You know, you free hit 34, bench boost 37, and I know I keep going on about it, but the more I talk about it, the more it seems like a possibility. I'm still not free hitting in 29, but yeah, I think maybe the wild card is potentially the way to go. But anyway, that is going to be everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider hitting the like button down below. Leave a comment. Are you thinking of wild carding this week or next week, or are you just free hitting in 29? Both viable options. Obviously, it is all team dependent, but yeah, let me know what your guys are going to be doing. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. It's everything from me, though. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, peace.